So, firstly, obviously, welcome everybody here in person, but also welcome to everybody who is in the Zoom webinar. And the event is being fully live streamed on the Internet Society England website, and it will be recorded. So if you don't feel comfortable with being recorded or having your photographs taken, if you can let the people know at the registration desk, and we will make sure that that is accommodated. For people participating online, you can post comments in the chat function on Zoom Room, ask questions through the Q&A function on the Zoom webinar, and we will keep an eye on that and call them out and try to give at least equal priority to the people participating online as in the room. So this is supposed to be a fully inclusive hybrid event. For people who are in the room, we're going to go old school. You can raise your hand, not in the Zoom room, but there are microphones you'll see by the desks, and you can then switch your microphone on and ask your question. So we do, as this is an IGF event, there's an IGF code of conduct. So obviously we're talking about respectful collaboration and discussion, and I'm sure that's always the case, but it's part of the rules of the IGF events. We talk about the IGF code of conduct. So that's the housekeeping done. I'm really pleased to properly welcome everybody to this year's IGF. It's been 3 years since we've had a meeting in person, so it's a pleasure to see three-dimensional meeting delegates for a change. And it's the UK IGF, but it's also a sort of a global event. We come together, this year's theme is about the resilient internet for the shared, sustainable and common future. And I think it's always important to reflect on how the internet does not have a geographic boundary. We are part of a wider community, and obviously the outputs from today's UK IGF go through to the UN IGF meeting in Addis Ababa later on at the end of November, beginning of December. This is now, I think, my 7th UK IGF meeting, and I'm very pleased that Nominet, which is a public benefit organisation, continues to provide funding and support for the IGF and pays me to attend these things and to organise the committee meetings. For those not familiar with Nominet, this is the .uk internet registry, so essentially responsible for all the domain names ending in .uk. .uk still is by far the most popular choice of domain name in the United Kingdom, and obviously that's a key priority for us, both in terms of setting industry standards, but supporting events like this in terms of our place in UK internet industry infrastructure. So coming on to that, we do provide protective domain name solutions to the UK National Cybersecurity Centre and across the UK public sector, and also to the Australian Government and Cybersecurity Centre. So this is part of essentially Nominet's public benefit work, and we do have a big role in doing a lot of public benefit activities. I should say that over the next 3 years, we're committed to spending about £65 million to support partners and programmes that promote greater connectivity, inclusivity and security. And we also work to create lasting improvements targeting a range of issues out of the digital age, online safety, digital inclusion, and long-standing social challenges where technology can play a pivotal role and assist with that. We're delighted to be working with the Institute of Coding to create a new programme with the use of digital skills, education and training to provide better futures for over 25,000 young adults over the next 3 years. And obviously we focus on underrepresentation in the digital sector. We have one of the Brexit outcomes was a shortfall in funding for the UK Safer Internet Centre, about £1.3 million of annual funding they previously received from the EU. And so Nominet has filled that gap. So there are various things where part of our public benefit role is to step in and to contribute to those sorts of important initiatives. In terms of child exploitation, we also continue to support the Internet Watch Foundation, and obviously stopping, identifying serious child exploitation and removal of that sort of content from the internet. And just recently, I said we've launched the second Digital Youth Index, which is a benchmarking report, and it offers insight into young people's digital experiences to actually give a better standard of information to inform debate. And you can hear more about that sort of thing on the online safety later on today. So I'd like to just wrap up this introduction by giving a big thanks to the rest of the volunteers on the steering committee for the UK IGF. It comes from a range of really great organisations. We have DCMS, we have the IWF, we have techUK. We've got a good representation across civil society, academia, and industry. And obviously, in terms of funding, we have a funding partner, which is ICANN. So thanks to them for the continued support and engagement. But it really is the volunteer time, which I think is the key essence of what makes the UK IGF so good. And so the willing and generous donation of people's time and expertise to ensure that these days are topical and that we've got excellent speakers and a good mix of things is much appreciated. And if you see any of the UK IGF committee members here today, then make sure you say thank you and appreciate them. The full list of committee members is on the UK IGF website. So just touching on diversity, and this is one of the important things around perspective and opinions, and it's really central to how we operate and try to make sure that our discussions are relevant to the experiences of all UK digital citizens. Part of what we've done last year for the first time, this year for the second time, is we signed the Future of London Diversity Pledge to make sure that the speakers and panels you have today are representative of the broader society that we live in. So I'm quite pleased with the hot off the press statistics that we have 58% of our speakers today being female. We have good geographic representation, so more than 30% outside of London and the southeast, and just over 25% from ethnic minority backgrounds. So that has been a great success. And we have a lot of newcomers. So from our registration statistics, we see that over 71% of delegates are attending this year's IGF for the first time. And that is also a very important part of what we're trying to achieve here. So this is a multi-stakeholder model. So we meet as equals to discuss, exchange ideas and discuss best practices. This is one of the series of important initiatives led by the United Nations for public policy on the internet. So the purpose is to facilitate a common understanding to maximize opportunities while mitigating the risks and challenges of the internet. And you'll see that theme coming through all of today's meetings. It is, I suppose every year we say, it's a bit like the Olympics. This could not be a more sort of topical time to have this sort of discussion. It seems more important than ever that the issues today's globe and the UK specifically face really require effective engagement in terms of digital questions. We've got a new government in office, and there's increasing security. There's still progressing legislation. Online safety is still up and coming, although not quite sure whether we're at a crossroads or at a pivot or a cul-de-sac. So yeah, there's a variety of themes today, and issues such as digital inequality, the encryption, the importance of transparency in AI, and not least the fragmentation potentially of the global internet. So these sorts of digital delivery and strategies are going to be at the heart of the problem areas that we're tackling today, and coming back to the theme to try to ensure we have a resilient internet for the future, and a sustainable future at that. So I think that's my introduction fully done. I would like to hand you over now to two of my fellow steering committee members. So we have Dani Dhiman from techUK and Isabella Wilkinson from Chatham House. And please welcome to the stage. They will take you through today's agenda and provide the comparing and leading us through to all of the sessions, and I'm sure sticking to time with everybody's cooperation. So thank them very much and welcome them warmly.
I wasn't expecting a round of applause, but it makes me feel great. Welcome everyone to this year's UK Internet Governance Forum, and thanks Nick for covering the housekeeping, so me and Bella get to talk about the exciting stuff of the day. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Dani Dhiman and I work at techUK, part of the policy team where we unpick some of the biggest challenges and questions that underpin the tech sector's growth, and that includes all of the topics that we're discussing today. This is actually the first time I've been involved in the UK Internet Governance Forum, and it's been such a fantastic experience working with a huge range of stakeholders who are passionate about unlocking the potential of the internet while addressing the risks and challenges that come with it. I also feel very spoiled knowing that this is usually, or for the past few years, has been run virtually. So it's great to be here in person. I'm really looking forward to speaking with you all during the breaks, but equally really looking forward to engaging with everyone who's joining us virtually. As Nick mentioned, I'm going to be your compare for the morning, and I'll just hand over to Izzy, who will be looking after you all during the afternoon.
Hi everyone. So wonderful to see everyone here in person today. Also a very warm welcome to everyone joining us online. So as Dani and Nick mentioned, my name is Isabella Wilkinson. Outside of being on the UK IGF Steering Committee, I'm a research associate in the International Security Programme at Chatham House, where I specialise in all things cyber policy, cybercrime, cybersecurity, disinformation and internet governance, perhaps most importantly. So as mentioned, this year's UK IGF theme is Resilient Internet for a Shared and Sustainable Common Future. Now, this theme is cross-cutting across a really fantastic lineup of panels, speakers and expertise that we have lined up today. I think that we'll just provide a quick overview of the agenda. So we'll hand it over to Dani to cover the morning sessions, then I'll go into what we'll be doing after lunch in the afternoon.
Great. So this morning, I'm delighted to say that we will be welcoming Lucy Powell, Shadow DCMS Secretary of State, Labour MP, for a bit of a fireside chat and opening remarks. And that will be followed by a panel on the online safety bill with Damien Collins MP, former Minister for Tech and Digital Economy. We'll then have a quick break for refreshments, so you can have a coffee, check some emails, etc., and then come back for our second panel of the day, which will be looking at digital inequalities, the barriers facing young and old. After lunch, Bella will be sort of taking over and can talk you through the agenda.
So after lunch, we will be welcoming Ofcom's Group Director for Strategy and Research, Mr. Yi Chong Tae, for the keynote address and a quick Q&A. Following that, we'll be going into a workshop-style panel on encryption, followed by a short break for coffees and hopefully continuing the conversation. In the second part of the afternoon, we'll be holding a panel on transparency and AI, and we'll be concluding the day with a panel on avoiding internet fragmentation, after which we'll have a wrap-up session where we can sit and reflect and think about some key themes that we want to feed into this year's global IGF, which will be at the end of November. As a reminder, of course, all of these sessions are incredibly interesting, they're topical, but most importantly, they're derived from the UK's multi-stakeholder internet governance community. And so we're really hoping that everyone gets as involved as possible in the conversation, not just during the panels and in the Q&A, but in the coffee breaks at lunch, and to continue the momentum of the day's discussions beyond this year's UK IGF. And that's a special reminder to our online attendees as well, to get involved by putting their questions in the chat function in the Q&A, and they'll be read out by a representative in the room. So you will be included in the discussion as much as possible.
And then I think Isabella forgot the most important part. We're going to be closing with drinks, and I'm told there's a pretty high minimum spend, so I hope you stick around for that. So maybe I'll just kick off with the day then. As Nick mentioned at the beginning, this year the UK IGF signed the London Diversity Pledge for the second year, committing to ensure the speakers and panels are representative of the society we live in today. This extends to representation from different political parties, which is why I'm really thrilled today that we have Lucy Powell, Shadow DCMS Secretary of State and Labour MP for Manchester Central, to the stage for this ministerial address. I know that we are running a bit ahead of schedule, so I hope Lucy is here, but maybe Alice will be able to check for us. So after her ministerial address, she will also be able to answer some questions.